Everyone thinks wisdom comes from books, science, and human reason. Baal HaSulam says you're looking in the wrong place entirely. In 1920s Jerusalem, a man sat in a small room surrounded by manuscripts. His name was Yehuda Ashlag, later known as Baal HaSulam, master of the latter. He wasn't writing philosophy or self-help. He was writing something far more dangerous, a complete map of how reality actually works. And his central claim was radical. He said that every wisdom the world had accumulated, science, philosophy, psychology, even ethics, was built on a foundational misunderstanding. Not that these wisdoms were worthless, but they were like trying to understand a symphony by reading the sheet music alone, without ever hearing the sound. They described the surface. They missed the source. And that source, according to Baal HaSulam, is what he called the wisdom of Israel, not a nationality or religion, but a specific method of knowing reality that operates from the inside out. So what's the difference? Let me show you. External wisdom, the kind the world teaches, works like a camera. It observes, it measures, it categorizes. Psychology observes human behavior. Biology observes living systems. Physics observes matter and energy, all legitimate, all useful, but all fundamentally external. You're always looking outward, trying to understand something separate from yourself. The wisdom of Israel, by contrast, is a mirror. Not to look at yourself, but to look through yourself into the mechanism that's doing the looking. It asks, what is the nature of the desire that's observing? What is the ego that wants to know? Why do I want what I want? This isn't psychology describing the mind. It's the mind examining itself from the inside. Baal HaSulam called this the difference between receiving and giving. External wisdom is about receiving information from the world. You accumulate facts, theories, understandings. You become smarter, but you remain essentially the same person, the same ego, the same desires, the same separated self. The wisdom of Israel is about transformation. It's about changing the very instrument that's doing the knowing. Now here's where it gets interesting. Baal HaSulam wasn't anti-science or anti-knowledge. He respected the external wisdoms deeply, but he saw their limit. They can tell you how the world works. They cannot tell you why you're here. They can explain the mechanism of love. They cannot teach you to love. They can describe consciousness. They cannot change your consciousness. And that's the crisis of the modern world, according to Baal HaSulam. We've accumulated unprecedented external wisdom. We know more about physics, biology, psychology, and technology than any civilization in history. Yet we're not happier. We're not wiser. We're not more connected. Why? Because knowledge about reality is not the same as transformation of the self. The wisdom of Israel, by contrast, is specifically designed to do one thing: change the nature of the one who knows. It's a method of using knowledge to reshape desire, to move from I want to receive to I want to give, from I want to understand for myself to I want to understand in order to connect. It's alchemy, not information. This is why Baal HaSulam said that the wisdom of Israel isn't really about the nation of Israel at all. The name is ancient. It refers to a state of consciousness, what he called Yasharel, which means straight to God, or more literally, directly to the source. It's the consciousness of someone who has reoriented their entire desire from receiving to giving, from ego to connection. Now you might ask, if this is so powerful, why doesn't everyone know about it? Baal HaSulam had an answer for that too. He said the wisdom of Israel was deliberately hidden in symbols and stories and layers of meaning, not because it was secret in a conspiratorial way, but because the method itself requires a certain readiness. You have to be hungry for something deeper than information. You have to be willing to examine your own desire. Most people aren't. They want answers. They want to accumulate more understanding, more credentials, more certainty. That's the external wisdom path, and there's nothing wrong with it. But it has a ceiling. At some point, more information doesn't help. At some point, you need transformation instead. Baal HaSulam spent his life writing and teaching one thing: how to make that shift, how to take the hunger that drives all learning and redirect it, How to use the mind not just to accumulate but to transcend. How to move from the wisdom that separates, I know, you don't, to the wisdom that unites, we are parts of one whole. This is what he meant by the ladder. The title Baal HaSulam literally means master of the ladder. The ladder isn't a metaphor for climbing higher in status or knowledge. It's a method for moving from one level of consciousness to another, from ego to connection, from receiving to giving, from the wisdom that explains the world to the wisdom that transforms the one who lives in it. And here's the thing that makes this relevant to you right now. The world still operates on external wisdom. Your education, your career, your social status, all built on accumulation. But your suffering, your loneliness, your sense of meaninglessness, those won't be solved by more accumulation. They'll be solved by a different kind of knowing entirely. Baal HaSulam lived in poverty. He had little formal education by modern standards. He never sought fame or recognition. Yet he left behind a body of work that maps the entire structure of reality from the perspective of consciousness itself, not from the outside looking in, from the inside looking out. And he did it all to answer one question: how do we become truly human? The answer, he said, isn't more wisdom from the world. It's the wisdom of turning inward, of examining the very desire that seeks wisdom, of using knowledge not to build yourself up but to dissolve the false self that's in the way. That's the wisdom of Israel, and it's been waiting for you all along. If this resonates, if you're hungry for a wisdom that transforms rather than just informs, subscribe. Every week, we go deeper into the teachings of Baal HaSulam and the authentic Kabbalah, exploring what it really means to know yourself and connect to others. The path is here. You just have to decide if you're ready to walk it. Subscribe to explore deeper teachings of authentic Kabbalah each week, wisdom that transforms, not just informs.